Get this on the Triple M network. With myself, Tony Martin.
One vote.
We've got Ed Cavalier.
One vote.
Pushing the buttons, it's Richard Marsland.
I like him. That's part and parcel of the Marsland lifestyle.
Hey, get out of here, babes.
Back off.
Take your volleyballs with you.
All right. Every other show on this fine network is talking football. We are the premier football network these days.
Absolutely.
Do you get the feeling we're letting the side down somehow?
No.
Well, we're working the other end of the pool at the moment, trying to come up with characters and serials, things like that will catch on with the general public. Now, none of my ideas seem to be catching on.
What do you got, Tone?
Everybody loves Chemical Ali.
No,
That hasn't
nobody
really
likes that.
taken off.
At home with I'm a dinner jacket? That's not working.
No, that's
He
not
was
happening.
doing some great gear last
Oh,
night.
we'll talk about that later, Tone.
Okay.
He's onto it. My Hollywood Reporter, just not camp enough.
What do you need for that again?
Well, you just need that noise and the name Lindsay Lohan.
So
Ask me anything.
Hey, what's going on in Tinseltown, Ed?
Lindsay Lohan.
Oh, I'm up to date now.
Maureen McCormick and Eve Plum on the set of The Brady Bunch. What's the latest there?
Lindsay Lohan.
Okay, and Kenny G, MD, was a big fat flop. We need new ideas, and we've got 'em! From Get This, the people who brought you the TV shows everyone's talking about. Medical Emergency Gotcha. Girls of the Spectre Mansion. It's Me or Shane Warne. Dancing with the Stasi. Jake and the Morbidly Obese Man. Can We Not? Ready, Steady, Shrimp. The Optometrist and the Ophthalmologist. Inspector Rex Hunt. What is it? What is it, boy? What was that?
All up industry.
And carry on, up Carl Stefanovic comes the show that says why should horse, dog, ghost and baby whisperers have all the whispering fun? Richard Marsland is the Fridge Whisperer.
Hi, I'm Richard Marsland, the Fridge Whisperer.
Ed, that's
No, I'm not doing it.
Just for the
No,
sketch.
not doing it.
They won't
They
hear
will,
it.
man. You
No,
do
no,
it.
no,
You
mind,
do
it's not
it.
on the tip.
I'm not doing
All
it.
right, thank God you're here. This fridge is a shop bird.
I'll be the judge of that, with the help of this little baby.
Farmers Union iced coffee.
I'll just leave that there, and now we wait. Let's see, Kelvinator 316 1985 model, 4 hours and 15 minutes. And here we go. It's fantastic.
That was only about 12 seconds.
Nope, this FUIC is still room temperature. This fridge is a shot bird.
I said that.
There's only room for one Fridge Whisperer in this sketch. I'm Richard Marsland.
I'm Richard. All right, let's see some of this so-called fridge whispering then.
Okay, what whispers have I got here? Nope, I'm just going to have to do the dance. Hit it! Nope, nothing.
Speak for yourself.
I'm just going to have to show it who's boss. Bad habits they may have picked up at the shop can persist well after installation, as long as you show them who the pack leader is. Do you have a minibar fridge?
No.
In that case, you can hit one of the pressure points. If you can just hold the door open, I'll just press the switch that keeps the light
Are
on
you sure
there.
that's safe, Richard?
I'll just keep the light off. It's all about submitting to the operator. Here we go. Okay. And if I know the 316...
Oh, wow. Huzzah, Richard. Not bad. Not
Never
bad.
gave up hope.
Richard Marsland is the Fridge Whisperer on Get This immediately after the Courtney Love Boat. No, that's too terrifying for this time slot.
You're amazing, Rich. So much uplifting trance in that bad boy. I was shuffling. What happens in Ready, Steady, Shrimp, Tone?
What about Can You Not?
Yeah. Can you not?
I don't know. It's got that 3 a.m. feeling to me, that one. Darren, how come? Has emailed in. This is the kind of gear we get slipped by our listeners. They just meet us outside in a phone box and slip you the envelope. And what
trench
would be in that envelope? Well, stuff like this. I have a recording of Rex Hunt throwing in a reference and dodgy impression of Blakey from On the Buses during a call of a footy game.
Oh.
Email me if you're interested. I think you know we are. Of course we are. Mr. How come?
You know we are.
What about some international news? What have you got for us?
Well, it's time to go into current events.
Is that right?
There was no sting there when I wanted it.
What was it?
Oh, because
I
I
thought
asked
we had
you.
like a.
Yeah, we were going to have one, but then you've got to then tell Richard because he's the one pushing
It's
the
helpful
buttons.
if you do tell me which one you would like.
Yeah.
Well, current events, this, like the international affairs one.
Just that big long
Just have
one.
anything. I don't care.
If you have a long one, he can have a couple of mouthfuls of sandwich during it. It's Ed's current affairs theme.
Okay.
There we go.
The current affairs, the current affairs. La 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 la. Let's have some salsa and some chili with them and some lime.
Okay,
and some
over to the
tacos.
news desk south of the border with Ed Cavalier.
Buenos dias. Iranian President Ahmadinejad said in a speech to an American university that there were, quote, no homosexuals in his country.
That's right.
He later added, could you introduce me to some? I can't find anyone to come and watch Hairspray with me.
You sure he was at a university? I thought he was playing the chuckle box. He should have had a little painted brick wall behind him. He was absolutely killing with some of that.
He was nailing.
That stuff about unlimited freedom for women in Iran.
Oh, man.
Brought the house down.
Tears.
And there was that look in his eyes of, if this happened at home, I'd just have all these people killed.
Yeah, why are these people still breathing? All of this lot here.
Pesky students. What about Britney Spears? Last week she claimed, or an onlooker claimed, they overheard Britney saying, I look like a fat pig. That
Which I won't have because she's never looked hotter.
Well, look at this shot of her getting out of a
How's she
car.
looking?
In the New Weekly this week with what appears to be a door sausage, a door snag around her waist. No, it's just part of Britney.
Give me a look.
I would, but I need the funny bit at the top.
okay,
I'll
okay.
just tear. Oh, it's not actually that funny. So, oh no, this is good. I'll just tear that off.
Okay, thanks,
Because
Tone.
if you've read the story in New Weekly, as you know, people are saying that she's deliberately stumbling out of nightclubs drunk. Showing up, slurring her words and being irresponsible because she doesn't want her kids. She wants K-Fed to take them off her
Is
hands.
that really?
What an elaborate plan.
Does that work?
Well, that's what it's saying. Tried that one in your family?
No, I'm sure someone has.
Okay, but anyway, this bloke who's, I can't get away from his name, the angry judge who's been condemning Britney, Commissioner Gordon. Commissioner Scott Gordon. There's a great quote from him. Commissioner Gordon will order the Spears boys to be turned over to K-Fed, says an insider. Britney's erratic behaviour seems to be getting even worse. I'd like to think it was Commissioner Gordon. Chief O'Hara,
Yes.
what we need to solve this Britney Spears case is two fine men.
What?
Two fine, good, upstanding men.
That's your solution for everything. I've got all these policemen that we never use, and
Fine gentlemen.
they're sitting at home.
Rare qualities
You know,
in men these days.
I know you like the blokes in the keeps, but these fellas, they're on the payroll. They're not doing anything.
That's confused everybody.
Sorry.
I just love all those speeches Commissioner Gordon does about what fine, upstanding men they are.
And O'Hara has to just sit there and cop it because he's incompetent, and he has to sit there and hear it. It's like he's the little kid that nobody likes. He's the younger brother that's useless, and the older twins are amazing.
Who was the bad guy today?
It was so baffling, I had to turn it off. It was the
This is
green
on Foxtel.
classics every morning at 8, which is why I get up in the morning. It's Kato was there with the Green Hornet.
Oh, so it was
Great.
a crossover from another series.
Yeah, and it started with a conveyor belt, which must have gone for 15 minutes. And do you know how he got out of it?
How?
For some reason, the bad guy came in and went, "Well, Batman, I know I've stuck you to this conveyor belt and you're about to die any second. What would happen if I sprayed this invisible get out of the conveyor belt spray on you?" What does Batman do? Punch him in the face. Of course he was going to do that.
Wasn't Kato from the Green
Bruce
Hornet?
Lee.
It was Bruce Lee.
It is Bruce Lee.
So how does Bruce Lee feel in one of them fight scenes?
Just
One of those cardboard box fight scenes with Splunk
I
coming
reckon
out
I
of
can
you.
do better. Hey, quiet, you. Stand up the back. Just keep your mask on. Do you know it was
Splunk!
it was called the Kato Show in China?
Oh,
The
really?
Green Hornet, yeah.
Fantastic. It was called the Commissioner Gordon Show at my house. Batman.
The phone topic today is dodgy school trips.
Oh, dodgy school trips. Have you been on one?
No, but a friend of mine was telling me that they live in the country,
Yep.
and they got brought to the major capital near their country town on a school trip, and
Yeah.
they only went to two places: the Lost Dogs Home and the Council Commission Flats, just to show them how not to turn out. Don't end up living in housing commission, and,
Dear, oh
and
dear.
for some reason, all right, year 11 kids, don't end up being a dog with no collar. All right, this is where you'll end up.
Gee.
So that was a warning for them.
Okay, that's a pretty sorry school trip.
It's not fun.
Sensational.
People were in tears. People were in tears when they got to the dog home, asking, "Oh, are we here because we're going to get a dog?" No, you're just here to see what happens to lost dogs. Don't worry, kids. I'll cheer you up. Let's go to Wentworth Towers. Have a look whose car's been broken into.
Well, We used to go on pretty dodgy school trips in Thames in New Zealand. I mentioned Thames on the show yesterday, gang. I'm sure nobody would remember the Rendezvous or Rendezvous Motel. So many emails.
Oh, really?
Scott Mansfield just one saying, it's still there in Kopu. Very funny name for a town when you're a kid. Now is it fun saying Kopu? Okay, good to know. We, the school trip, the saddest school trip was, hey kids, let's just go to Coromandel, which was just a small town further up the coastline. You go look at the milk bar with the rusting tins of Raro pineapple sections in the window. It's a fun day out. But one day, near the end of 1976, we went to Coromandel. They were making a movie.
Wow.
Now, nobody ever made movies in New Zealand. Turned out to be the first movie made in like 50 years. Was called Sleeping Dogs. Starred Sam Neill. Warren Oates was in it.
Oh, really?
Came out to New Zealand to be in it. Sam Neill's first feature-length film. They're doing this absolutely piss-weak car chase for the end of the film through the town of Coromandel. Anyway, about 15 years after that, a friend of mine calls me up from New Zealand and goes, you know Sleeping Dogs is out on videotape now. If you go to that car chase at the end and you freeze frame during one of the whip pans, you can see our class reflected in the shop window.
Oh, wow. You're in Sleeping Dogs, Tom.
I don't know if this is true. I've never confirmed it, but he reckoned it was. Now, this was made by Roger Donaldson.
Who went on to...
Oh, did No Way Out.
Oh, yeah.
Did that one, Dante's Peak.
Right.
I know. He's come on Martin Malloy, old radio show, to promote Dante's Peak. And I'm going, hi, I was in your first movie.
Sam Neill?
He nearly had a heart attack.
Oh, really?
Okay, you're going to have to go back and freeze frame it.
Wow.
So that was a piss week school trip
Yeah,
that
they-
turned into a movie credit.
Cinema Gold.
Amazing. Enigmatic passers-by. Tony.
It's
Wonderful.
me, Mr. Mars, and terrible school trips.
Well, lots in uni, as a matter of fact.
Oh, okay, cool.
Name
dropping it.
Yeah, we had to go to a funeral home.
Why?
And it was because so we could get used to the idea of
Oh, is
death.
this the same thing? This is where you don't want to end up, kids.
Pretty much, but everyone does. And no, because I was studying journalism and we had to sort of familiarise ourselves with death, but it was just a full day of it. So we not only went to the funeral home, we went to the morgue, also to the factory where they made coffins. For some reason.
And then a Noiseworks concert.
And that was just a horrible day. It was rather depressing. Also, we went to a deer farm as a kid. And
Hey, that's better.
yeah, that's kind of exciting, but the majority of kids found the dead deer that was rotting in the corner.
Yeah, no, that's...
Much more exciting. Bambi's mother, for some reason, getting a lot more hits.
G'day, Sarah. How are you?
Hello. A few years ago when I was in Year 9, we went on an excursion for environmental studies class to a ditch on the side of the road.
A ditch on the side of the road. I think we have a winner.
Was it Sarah, was it an impressive ditch?
Oh, not really. It was just like your regular ditch. It was just pretty average. We had to draw it. That was the whole point of the excursion.
And Sarah, did you get your photo taken with the ditch?
No, we didn't. There was no cameras there. It was just us.
Yeah, sorry, kids. The abandoned shopping trolley is closed today. The burning mattress is down. We'll have to go to the ditch on the side of the road. Shane Bourne is with us. Shane, we want to get back into your files now.
The files, the Shane file.
The last Shane file.
I had a segment on Midday with Ray Martin. Midday show was a show that was on at lunchtime, for those of you who weren't around. And, they had a Shane file. And they'd give me articles from kind of crappy magazines.
Yeah.
And the photos would come up and you'd make up stories.
Well,
and it wasn't a bad gig, actually.
It's, without the photos, that's pretty much, get this, Triple M afternoons, 2 till 4.
Same thing.
Do the files, not the files, what do you call it, the tapes, the masters of the Midday show, do they still all exist, do you think, somewhere at 9, or do they have just been
I would
erased?
imagine, no, I imagine they would, because I think it was prior to that they wiped out all Graham Kennedy's stuff and in Melbourne Tonight and all that kind of gig, because I thought, we needed for, I don't know.
Infomercials.
Keynotes.
Probably.
Yeah, keynotes.
With Richard Wilkins was taped over much of IMT. No, but, Andrew Mercado comes on this show, Shane. He's an archaeologist of old Australian TV shows. He's been able to track down things that didn't even go to air, like the two-way mirror. What he has been unable to find are the master tapes of Are You Being Served Down Under with yourself and John Inman.
Now, that was only called Are You Being Served.
Oh, okay.
Since that time, we now call it Are You Being Served Down Under because it's much funnier.
Sure.
And
But surely there was a Down Under on the...
No! But they used to do this thing back then when they'd get the British sitcoms. They'd bring out one of the stars.
We love that.
And kind of do an Aussie version. Our version was John Inman, who was the
Mr. Humphreys.
Mr. Humphrey.
Yeah. Are you free?
Yeah,
You got him?
we've got him somewhere in the computer.
And he, he was a legend in the UK. They brought him out, and the story was that he'd come out to the Australian kind of sibling department store.
That makes sense. Yeah.
I think it was called Grace Brothers over there. It was called Bone Brothers here.
Bone Brothers.
It's called Bone Brothers. I'd never thought of that. And the head of it was Mr. Bone, and he'd be shaking, and he had a blonde nurse and all that kind of stuff. And
didn't you
all
tell
the
me
same gag?
that John Inman, Mr. Humphreys, taught you the method of walking funny?
Well, he taught one particular style, which was his style.
Yeah, right.
Which was that little kind of you clench at the knees.
Yeah,
and you don't swing your arms, and so you get quite a theatrical look as
You told me
prance
he
across
taught you to wedge a coin between your butt cheeks.
Yeah.
You coin up the kite.
Yeah, I did want to mention that. But he
Okay.
did.
I'm free.
There he is. Bourne, were you ever up for a role in Love Thy Neighbour Down Under?
No, I was about to talk about that. That was another
Which
version.
I've got on DVD.
Yeah.
Have you got that?
Oh,
And not a single clip we can play on here.
Not 1 second.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Well, if you remember, Eddie Booth, Jack Smethurst, was continually distributing the N-word.
Oh, yes.
Oh, of course he was.
Yeah, yeah.
That was the whole neighbour thing, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
it was.
Was kind of interracial thing going
You
on.
weren't in
wasn't it?
that one.
No, I didn't get a Guernsey in that one. I've got a Guernsey in Abanks of Down Under. June Bronhill, the late June Bronhill, who was
yes.
a well-known opera singer, was in it. And she used to sing in the breaks.
Really?
And, the audience loved that. She'd pretend to forget a line and say, oh, bugger it.
Yeah.
And the joint would erupt.
And then the coin would fall from between the cheeks. Sorry. Sorry. Oh, look, there's so many more
He's dead too.
skeletons.
They're all,
They're all
John
dead.
Inman died.
It's a
Sorry
curse.
about that. The curse of
Oh, I thought you said purse.
Down Under. Also seen in the City Homicide. Well done, Bourne. I know that's just been signed up for a second series. Am I right there?
You are right, and that is really good news for Australian drama in general.
Let's not beat around the bush. There have been a lot of letters to the editor lately from people who have obviously never seen you in serious acting mode.
Yeah, I did notice that.
And are quite
Green
surprised. Now, no, seriously, I mean, MDA, great show. You won 2 AFI awards for that.
Yes, I did.
But it wasn't widely seen, let's be honest.
No, let's be brutally frank. It was on the ABC, and it was an acquired taste and discerning audience.
That's right. But
Both of them.
You have been doing the serious acting for a long time. In
I
fact,
have.
I remember back in the late 80s, you started to show up in the serious theatre on stage.
Yes, I did.
And everyone in comedy were going,
What's he up to?
that's never happened before. Can that happen? Can that crossover occur?
Yeah. Well, it did for a while.
Yeah.
And then I thought, what am I doing?
So how did you make the leap from performing in My Bare Lady, doing the gag work, to the proper acting? How did that change happen?
Well, when I started off, it wasn't I'll create a career in comedy.
You couldn't really make a career in comedy.
No, you just had to, because the comedians were probably ex-singers or actors or
Yep.
showmen or something. So it was more, I just wanted to get into showbiz, and the fastest way, without having to go to kind of college or something and study drama, was to go down to the George Hotel and ask Mr. Loudon, who ran My Bare Lady, any chance of a gig. And he said, I'll put you on between the Mighty Atom and Jeanette Plaisir. Which he did, very kindly.
What was the snake pit? Did you do a bit of downstairs work?
Yes, I did. But upstairs, your snake pit came after that. Upstairs, I remember the very first night, tuxedo, plastic shoes. They were plastic. $7, because they used to wear patent leather, which was shiny. Couldn't get them, they were plastic. And I think the audience picked up on that. So the first words I ever heard on stage were, "Get off, you poofter!" But I wasn't fazed. And I think I've told you this story before, but I did not tell you that Art, very kindly, Art Loudon, who was the compere, would be in the wings on the offstage mic while people are yelling at me, going, "Shut up, come on, shut up, give the young fella a go, shut up, you mongrels," which was kind of weird for the timing. The voice of God. So he'd just whack him into shape. And they're all men apart from one woman in the corner with really short hair and a suit.
There we go.
Of course.
But then, as you mentioned, downstairs, later on, purely coincidental, there was a job going as a DJ.
Oh.
And I'll tell you what, it was a rough old bar.
The snake pit.
Back then, there was the bouncers. Well, it was extraordinary. To get in, you walk through an old turnstile.
Yeah.
And there were two bouncers. There was an old bloke who had the white shirt and a bow tie, kind of balding grey hair, and he had his hand perpetually kind of bandaged.
Right.
And we thought that must have been from a nasty accident during the war or something. Until I saw him on one particular occasion stop the turnstile, which you could do with a pedal,
Oh, nice.
and thumped the bejesus out of this bloke who was caught in the turnstile, and the guy just dropped because obviously he's got a knuckle duster underneath the thing.
Okay.
So you're not coming in. I'll tell you, all sorts used to get in there.
What kind of tunes were you spinning, Bourne?
Yeah.
I was spinning anything from Bachman Turner Overdrive to Susie Quattro.
Oh, yes.
Bit of Akadaka. It was, that's
Bit of quo.
bit of quo, because that's what they were into. And if I wasn't playing the right thing, I would know about it. The interesting story was I had 2 turntables. And it was all just hand, put the record on and around, and you go from Bachman Turner to a bit of quo. There was another bouncer there, I forget his name, but he had a tattoo of a crucifix on his forehead.
Oh,
Nice.
And around his neck he had ... cut here.
Oh, okay. That's
And he
always
came up to me night one,
Yeah.
and he said, my girlfriend Betty works in the saloon bar. She walks through that door at 10:05. If Only You by Ringo Starr is not playing, you are dead meat. So from about 9, I only used 1 turntable because I had Only You set up ready to go as soon as I saw that bouffant jiggle over the bloody doorway. So, as soon as I'd Only You. So I lasted a few weeks. So it was fun.
Okay, so there's that world. When was the first time you found yourself doing what you would call proper acting?
I was in the UK, and years ago, if you went away, people must think, gee, he's actually pretty good.
Oh, okay,
yeah,
been
right,
overseas
okay.
for a while.
Because he's
yeah.
not here.
Yeah.
We'll get him back. He's not allowed to do that. And I came back and worked for the Melbourne Theatre Company doing 2 plays, one of which was Hurly Burly,
Oh, that's
yeah.
heavy going.
American play.
Yes.
Yep.
That was probably, the first big hit out. It was
Wow.
kind of mid-'80s, and that was fantastic.
And do you
6
ever
weeks in.
find that conflict still happening? I mean, you're on the set of City Homicide. Do you find yourself just opening doors and giving them
Yeah.
a bit of your world awaits?
Yeah, it's a...
As the suspect is being led in for questioning? Have you ever dropped one of those?
Well, yeah, a little bit of that. And I'm expecting the people, when we turn up in the cars and burst through the door, I'm waiting for a thank God you're here.
That's right.
Surely to goodness.
Surely they could squeeze one in. Oh, look, so much to get to. We haven't even mentioned Bingles. We've just received a note from a listener. This is Leslie, who said she once saw a band called Bandicoot,
Oh, yeah.
featuring a fabulous harmonica player in leopard skin pants.
Yep.
That was you.
Well, it was, but I wasn't. I didn't play the harp back then. I don't know what the hell I was doing, but yeah, there was a band called Bandicoot, which was myself and a singer by the name of Mick Fettis, who was ex-Madder Lake. Had a big hit in Melbourne.
£10 toothbrush, was that there?
I think it was £9.
Oh,
back
you're
then.
sorry, that was the New Zealand version.
With
pardon
the
me.
memorable lyrics, na 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 na. That was it. But it was very catchy. They played at Sunbury. They supported the Rolling Stones. And I remember Mick came off afterwards mortified because he realised his fly had been undone the entire time.
Yes.
So we had a band called Bandicoot, recorded an album. Unfortunately, the record company, just as I think they got to about the 1,000th copy of the Bandicoot album,
right.
they went broke. So they're collector's items. I've had people come up to me
Yeah.
and go, guess what? I've got, blah, 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 usually boffins.
Yeah. Well,
And I did see it not all that long ago in a kind of Woolworths, one of those bins where you can pick
Oh,
up.
any
no.
chance for a
$1.99.
reunion? Maybe for
Come on, Bandicoot are back.
big day out, home bake?
Oh, I don't know about that.
And in credits music for City Homicide. Something,
Oh,
surely.
there we
I'll tell you,
Throw 'em a bone, Shane.
a big claim to fame was Cold Chisel supported Bandicoot
Oh,
at the Largs Hotel, Largs Pier Hotel in Adelaide
That's right,
in
yeah.
about 1976, and Jimmy Barnes remembers it.
that is very impressive. We're up Talkback Mountain, and today we're just looking for examples of things that ain't right. Sorry. Nearly dropped the ball there.
My apologies.
Very
do it,
nice. So many calls, so many things that ain't right. Let's meet him, Ed.
G'day, David.
Hey,
Hit us, bro.
Richard's obsession, it seems to be with the veal gardens.
Now, you're calling us from Adelaide?
No, from Sydney.
Oh, okay. So do you know what the veal gardens are?
I've heard of them, and I've heard other people refer
Are you thinking about making the trip, David, at some point?
Only if you'll be there, Richard.
Yes, steady on.
Well, it is the festival state,
Right.
and there's one every night at the Veal Gardens. That's what
I
I've
was
heard.
also wondering something.
Yeah.
I tried calling a few weeks ago stories you missed while you were away.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Now,
yeah.
Richard, you went over in a certain airport bathroom in the US, were you?
Yeah. Nudging feet.
But I do have a wide stance.
It's ever since Richard did his very popular and oft-downloaded guide to the Adelaide Beats that, I don't know, maybe you're just covering that area of the demographic. We don't want to turn anyone away here and get this.
Do you know apparently the cue to get it going, David, is to meow? But we'll leave you with that.
I have no idea.
No, yes, you don't lie. Hello, Gina. How are you?
It's not right that New South Wales has a public holiday after the grand final and Queensland and Victoria doesn't.
That ain't right. Very true.
Where are you calling from, Gina?
Brisbane City.
You're in Vegas. Now, who will you be going for, though, on the NRL grand final on Sunday?
Manly. Go to Manly Seagulls.
That ain't right, Gina. Jeez Louise.
Is that right? Okay, but you see, we on this show, we're doing a national show, so we don't get the public holiday unless it's the national public
I
holiday.
know.
Oh, isn't that the curse of the national show?
Unbelievable.
Can I tell Tony
Yep.
that Queensland kids are on holidays at the moment? They will be listening.
Oh,
Oh, we're trying to keep it clean.
we're sorry.
We're trying.
Yeah,
This hadn't occurred to us before.
we have no children in our lives, Gina. We don't know what they're into and what they can and can't hear.
Yeah, I noticed that Nikki Hamilton, our producer, is wearing earmuffs on her stomach. Almost ready to go.
Oh, man. Good on you, Nikki.
Pregnant as. Who's got something else that ain't right?
Hi, Sarah. How are you?
I work at a boys' school,
Yep.
and there's a few female teachers there, and we had a disco, and some of the female teachers danced with the boys.
Oh. Well, it depends which perspective you're looking at it from.
Like up close and personal kind of dancing?
Not, but, enough that it's a bit inappropriate.
Ooh. So you're anti, are you, Sarah?
Yeah, I'm not for it.
Yeah, good. Same.
No, yep.
Well,
So where do you fit into the school structure? Where are you?
I'm a teacher. I don't think I can give too many details.
No,
no,
don't give
fair
any
enough.
details.
No, fair enough,
Don't
Sarah,
give any
fair enough.
details. Mrs. X.
okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It is one of those things, though, when you're at school, a hot teacher kind of, you know. Okay.
Yeah, I'm getting that. It's the last caller that's thrown me now. The kids are on holiday. There's so many things we could say. Are you chewing? There's so many jokes that we could get to, but we just won't.
Hello, Fraser. How
There you
are
go.
you?
We're a bit nervous.
We're
What ain't
very
right, sir?
nervous.
Blokes who wear pink shirts.
Fraser, what if they claim that the colour is salmon, not pink?
Oh, it's still pink, mate. Every salmon, watermelon, it all means pink in the...
Yeah.
Watermelon? I think that's a really poor defence. Nah, that's watermelon.
What I tend to do is go up to them and say, look, that's a nice shirt, mate. Does it come in men's?
There we go.
Oh, it's sorted out.
That'll learn them.
I think our sales department
right.
just collapsed as well with that news.
And what are you sporting today, Fraser, yourself? What have you got on up top?
Overalls, mate.
Overalls.
And nothing else.
And 7 Iron Maiden T-shirts underneath.
And a fez.
right.
All right, good on you, Fraser. Have a good day. Lovely to talk to you. Finally, Josh, how are you?
I think that DVDs, 2-disc DVDs with crap special features.
That ain't right. Absolutely. I've been campaigning for better special features for years.
Any 2-disc DVD should automatically, the extra disc should have 3 hours of content minimum.
Wow.
That's right. And can you give us any examples of offenders in this area?
Yes, good film, $1 Million Baby, 2-disc edition, crap second disc.
Yeah.
About 20 minutes of stuff on that second disc, there's nothing on there.
Oh, don't you love it when the extra stuff just has a whole lot of clips from the film that you've just watched?
Yep.
Yeah.
Also like it when scene selection is part of the list as well.
Oh, I hate that.
Scene selection is not a special feature.
Now, have you got Kumar and what's his name go to White Castle, Josh?
No.
Okay.
That's chockers with the special features
no, I'm
that
still trying
$1
to
Million Baby should have had.
I'm still trying to find someone that's actually seen that film.
I just don't think Clint Eastwood probably has a DVD player.
No,
He's probably
absolutely
not that.
right. It's reel to reel for him.
He's not going to be working out an interactive neck-breaking game to put on disc 2 of $1 Million Baby. It's not going to happen.
Gee, so Tony, are we running early?
That ain't right. It's just it's thrown us completely. I know. You watch the news. Stick around for the news, people. It's going to be hilarious. There'll be a lot of this.
Something's happened.
All of our table thumping, paper shuffling, and pen clicking for about 30 seconds, I'm guessing. These sounds are available on the website individually if you'd like to build your own. Get this. We've got from the Brisbane cage George McEncroe with us. George, you've been fascinated by, and I don't know how much Ed wants to say on air, but you were giving...
Wait, what?
I do. I'm very concerned for Ed Cavali's his whole spiritual well-being. I think it's moral peril.
I saw you outside listening keenly.
Listen, but apart from that, I've counselled Ed Tony in the dark corridors of this building here, and I have been concerned. I didn't want to voice this necessarily to the nation, but I think I think it's an empty life.
It's not an.
I think it's empty.
I
And
live
I
a-
think we're looking at eventually blow-up dolls
No, we're not looking at.
with voice recordings of your own voice.
Oh, hang on. What about
Putting on-
podcasts coming out of a blow-up doll?
Oh my God.
Neighbours plot or not, he's thinking about that. Yes, earlier in the show, he
That is
did,
awful.
out of nowhere, voice an objection to the concept of a long-term relationship, and I did wonder what had brought that on.
Someone probably answered him back when he said, "How are you?"
That is not true.
Ran for his life.
I'm not a cold-hearted maniac in the house with the blow-up dolls and tapes of myself as is going out across the nation. That is not how I live.
Okay.
I live a full life of Batman, boiled salmon, and
But anything can bring a relationship unstuck for you, isn't it? Right? Like somebody says, "I'd like milk in my tea, please," or "I had a headache today," or "Oh, you're out."
No,
Who cares about your headache? What, have you got a tumour? Well, I want to hear about it.
yeah, look, I'm not insane, but hey, I'm just not into that. You know what I'm saying?
Into hay.
It's very useful for a listening audience.
Okay, here's a couple. Hair tussling, no thanks.
Okay.
If I've got a zipper and someone else plays with it for me,
That's a relationship deal
I
breaker?
can't stand that. If I've got a button that someone feels should be undone when I've clearly chosen to do it up, leave it.
Yeah,
I
no,
don't want to
that's
show
not-
that much neck. You know what I'm
What
saying?
is the most piss-weak reason that you've broken up with a woman?
Oh, well,
Come on. You're amongst friends. You can share.
a girl once flicked my ear.
That's a deal breaker. Were you in trouble at the time?
No, it was
He
just
dropped the controller to the Nintendo.
No.
He's furious.
we were walking. We were walking along a beach, and I said something about. I can't remember. I said something along. I don't know. I made some comment about seals or something. I don't remember. And she went, and she flicked my ear, and I
You
went.
probably said, "Can I eat seals?" And she went, "No."
Yeah.
Flicked your ear.
She
for
flicked my
punishment.
ear, and I was like, "That is." I mean, where does that end?
How many-
before you know it, she's stealing your nose.
And you need that. How many times have you been dropped because of something you've said on the radio?
Oh, that's not something I can go into. It hasn't happened yet, but
It's come pretty close from what I've
yeah,
heard.
it has come very
It's
close.
led to 1.5 evictions.
It has, yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah.
What sort of advice would you have given Ed if he was in one of your classes?
Read
George?
more books.
Read more books.
I've read heaps of books and that.
Ask more questions.
Read more books. Do the kids still get into the books, or are they waiting for iBooks to become a reality?
They're still being made, so I guess someone's reading them.
Is it the fact that people get put off reading by being given boring books to read at school?
I'm
That's what
sure
happens.
that's true.
Don't you think that's a factor?
I just don't think a 12-year-old boy is going to get into Pride and Prejudice the way they'd hoped. Even
don't
if the
do that
teacher
to
is wearing
year
a bonnet
Yeah. You don't do that to year 11.
I was
or a bonus.
recently read that book, The Quiet American.
Oh,
And
yeah,
I
yeah.
told someone here about that, and he goes, "Oh, mate, we had to read that at school."
But it's such a great book.
It is a good-
That's the thing, the Graham Greene thing.
Yeah, it's a Graham Greene joint. It's a Graham Greene joint.
You know, I got a story about that for off air.
It's very hard to read if you've seen the film because it's Michael Caine in the film. So,
Yeah.
do you find that when you've read the book after the film, you
put on-
can't stop hearing the person's voice? So every line's like, "Chop, chop, come on, move along."
Tony,
What's all this about, Ed?
it's funny you should say that because the new book, which I'm just about to start reading, is the novelisation of Batman Forever. And I don't know if I can get Clooney's voice out of my head.
I had the same thing when I read Jane Austen's original of Caddyshack. I just couldn't get Rodney
Get
Dangerfield
thy
out.
party started. One night, all night.
Get thy party started.
Oh, somebody's stuffing a duck.
Oh, it's great literature.
The Arsefield.
Maybe give the kids Caddyshack to read. What books are you giving your kids to read?
I was giving them Catcher in the Rye, which you can't go past
That's a
that.
good one.
The trouble with Catcher in the Rye is the kids always get told it's full of filth.
Yeah,
Yes.
no
And
filth.
you live through and you're going, phony? Was the word phony something obscene back in the 1950s?
Well, he does get the
blazer?
prostitute over, but then gives her money and sends her home.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
a bit of a letdown.
Oh, massive letdown.
George McEncroe from up north is sitting in for this hour. And earlier in the show, she played us a clip from the Brisbane cage where basically a man had used one of them post-it notes attached to his dog's head to send a message
Messenger.
through the house.
We don't all have pigeons these days.
Let's talk a bit more about that kind of stuff as we enter the Get This Animal Kingdom.
That's good.
Very nice.
That was going to be
A bit
longer.
lonely and, a bit singular, wasn't it?
Yeah, there's only one
Think how
horse
many
left,
goats
though.
were up that mountain.
We'll have
So true.
But when it comes to horses, only gets one.
New days.
What other animals
Lazy.
have you got, Rich? That's a horse having a milkshake.
Lovely.
That's what that is.
That's good.
That's
That's a seal, yeah?
That's Ed Seal.
Oh, the gulls are in.
There we go. Either that or Marty Shigol's reading Cloud Street, one of the two.
Oh, yes.
It's true, actually. Could be one.
Bring that back. We've gone, how literary are we on today's show?
No, we've gone all up ourselves.
Don't forget, John Updike's coming in later. Spin the wheels of steel. Okay, inappropriate use of an animal. What can you give us any other examples?
My husband loved whippets so much as a little boy. They had one whippet called Whips, not very imaginative, sure, but still. They used to get the whippet. He had to have his pillowcase had to have a certain degree of filth on it in order for him to sleep.
Right.
So he would grab the whippet and sully up the clean sheets, just pushing that poor whippet from one end of the bed to the other until it was sufficiently stinky, and then he could sleep in it. It is speechless.
It's speechless, literally speechless.
And they would fight over who got to put the whippet into their beds to warm up their toes at night. Poor Whips.
God.
A living creature.
This is a man, though, George. This is a man who creates his own tent of warmth.
Yeah.
By putting the Cambrook sort of heater underneath the sheet, which to me is a fire hazard.
That's terrible.
Toasty.
Nature's providing you with all the little heaters you need. Just get down to the RSPCA and warm
Strap
yourself
some
up.
to me.
Why not?
Guess that's inappropriate use of an animal. Speaking of warmth, we used to have a cat that would act as a door sausage. Would lie along the gap under the front door and was just a perfectly
No
formed...
anaesthetic involved?
We didn't have a door sausage or a snake, which would work as well.
Yeah.
And would just form,
That's perfect.
voluntarily become a door sausage. I guess that's inappropriate use of an animal. Thank you. Somebody just stood on a frog, I'm guessing.
All right. Ring bearers, when you see wedding photographs in the Sunday paper.
Yes.
And it's like, Darren and Darina got married at the golf club on Saturday, and Rover was the ring bearer.
Or when they go leopard or something. Have you seen people do
now, hang on, now you're getting somewhere. If all the guests for your wedding were leopards.
Were you at Flavor Flav's wedding? What are you talking about?
I had a friend who went to a really over-the-top wedding where it was a bit like Flavor Flav, where they hired a leopard of some description.
How do you hire a leopard?
I don't know. I'm not in the leopard hiring business. I'm just telling you the story.
Hire a
Tiring the rings around the leopard.
Yeah.
But then you'd be too scared to fetch the ring, surely.
Especially if you've gone to the wedding dressed as a wildebeest or a fawn.
Wouldn't you
in
regret
big
that
trouble.
decision?
I've just realised I went to Tom Gleisner's wedding and he had Charlie the Wonder Dog, the real original, as one of the ring bearers. Had to be dragged by a rope up the aisle. Very impressive looking.
He truly is a wonder dog.
Okay.
Oh, that's your Bud Tingwell, is it?
That's right. But also at weddings, very common now to release butterflies.
Yes.
What?
Yeah, make sure you turn the bugs
Signify
up
what?
off.
That it's going to die after a day?
Yeah, it's like a butterfly to release the... I don't know what exactly
You've seen
it
the
means.
negative side of the wedding.
I guess that's
All over.
inappropriate use of a butterfly.
Thank you very much.
Hey, I got a little nasty message for you, Ed, from one of your
Great.
well, not that nasty. Marie called regarding your putting it about
It's not...
with abandon.
No. Let's cut that out. That is not true.
You're not putting it about, although. Okay.
Although
if we do start calling you the Fonz now.
No, I do not hang out in
if
the
I
toilets.
see the hula triplets or whatever the name
No,
was.
I do not.
I have to say, Ed doesn't like the fonts.
I hate the fonts. He was on the beach the other day in a leather jacket, and Richie goes to him, "Why you got a leather jacket?" And he's like, "What's this?" And a girl walks over and he's like, "I like your leather jacket." That's not going to happen, Fonz. A 38-year-old man on the beach in shorts and a leather jacket.
He does look absurd.
Babes are not going to go up to you, man. The police will come up to you.
Where does he spend most of his time?
In the toilets with a bunch of guys in year 12.
But on the beach, doesn't he have his boots on and his little white socks as well and his hairy...
He's just the worst.
He's great
Anyway.
in Arrested Development.
When was he cool?
Mark called to say it wants you to be in a new film, great moving opportunity, called Shallow Ed.
Shallow Ed. We'll have an update on that tomorrow.
That is not fair.
It's very interesting. You can learn a lot about Ed from just looking at the photos of him in the social pages.
No, that is not true as well. It was a promotions girl. I didn't take a stripper to a movie.
Get this at the new time of 2 o'clock.
Or in Adelaide, 3 o'clock.
On the Triple M Network.